Well, hello and welcome back to the fifth and final episode of the Behind the Rules video series. Today, joining me in the hot seat for our final episode is AFL National Women's and Girls Community Football Manager, Emily Hopkins. Emily, welcome.
Thanks, Mitch.
Can you just give us a little bit, context around your role and more broadly the women's and girls space within the AFL?
Yeah, sure. So my role is the National Women and Girls Community Football Manager. So at the moment, my primary focus is on delivering the Women and Girls Game Development Action Plan. So at the end of 2021, the AFL released the Women's Football Vision, which basically guides where we want to take women's football from a whole of business perspective over the next decade, so up until 2030. What we did in 2022 was develop an action plan on how we actually deliver on that. And we've got some quite lofty ambitions in the Women and Girls Action Plan. We're actually trying to achieve equal participation and representation by 2030 across community football. So that's Auskick, that's playing community football, that's coaching, that's umpiring, that's leadership within community football clubs as well. So we've obviously got a lot to do in that space, and it's really exciting now to be able to lead that across the country. And we've got women and girls leads and coordinators in all our states and territories who are driving that. We've got Beck and Kirby here in Queensland driving that. So,
no, very good. And Hayley in episode 4 touched on some of the fantastic work that the women's and girls team do here in Queensland, which is great. So I guess to flow on from that, Queensland footy's had a stellar year in 2023 on the back of a couple of record-breaking years prior to that. I'm going to ask the tough question. If things are going so well, why are we changing things?
Obviously, primary focus in junior football is we want to see skill development, but more importantly, we want to see kids have fun. Not only is that going to attract more kids to the game, but it's actually going to retain them, and that's really important. We want kids to come and enjoy their experience in football and want to continue to play football as well. So the changes that are made to the junior rules are focused on that. It's making sure that the kids can actually develop their skills, and it's making sure that they enjoy their experience in football as well.
Very good. And I think a big thing to point out is that our end goal is to ensure that football's in every home right across Queensland. And I think throughout a lot of this series, we've talked on how we make the game more accessible for people, whether that be our participants, whether that be for our umpires, whether it be for our coaches or volunteers. So, that's great. So, on the back of a fair bit of research that we did last year, can you talk us through some of the research that we're going to continue to do into season 24?
Yeah, of course. I mean, with any changes, you want to continue to evaluate that and see how things are going. So this year there will be more filming, more, looking at the scorecards and how the new rule changes are actually playing out. It's one thing to have new rules, but we need to see how they're actually being delivered in community football space. So we'll continue to monitor that this year. We'll see what's working and where potentially we need to make tweaks to that as well. And throughout that process, there'll be resources and education available to volunteers at community football clubs as well, whether that be coaches, team managers, or your committee members. We'll make sure that everyone is educated through that process.
We're talking about that stakeholder engagement piece, and that's, part of this video series is to, take our community footy behind the rules and the decisions around what we're changing. From your aspect, particularly, looking at our coaching groups and those bits and pieces, like why is it so important that everyone understands the why of what we're doing?
Yeah, I think it's critical, right? Like at the end of the day, we want kids to have the best experience in football, and everyone needs to be on the same page with that. We could come into a game and, we're meant to play 12-a-side, which we know is going to be in the best development for kids. But if coaches aren't on board with that and they come down and they've both got 18 kids for the game and they say, let's just throw them all on the field, then obviously the kids aren't going to have the best experience. Again, as you said, it's all backed by the research that's been done. They've looked at junior kids playing football. And, you talked about the fact that it's not an end goal, it's an evolution. And we've seen exactly that with these new rules. The first iteration of the match policy was developed in the early 2000s, and this is a new iteration of that. And, we've taken what was developed in that first junior match policy and assessed what has and hasn't worked and been able to make tweaks to that as well. So there has been a lot of research that backed it, but it's really important that we educate everyone and everyone understands why these rules are actually going to, improve the experience for kids, and that we are all aligned on that as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So can you touch on, I guess, a little bit more around the women's and girls space? Probably more particularly how then the AFL junior rules and that project, I guess, is assisting in, more women's and girls participating in our game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, it's not just about playing. So, we look at the Women and Girls Action Plan, and playing's one pillar of that. We look at, coaching, we look at umpiring, we look at leadership within community football clubs, which is just as important as more women and girls actually playing the game. We also look at the environments, because it's really important that the environments, both the physical and the non-physical environments in community football clubs, are a positive and welcoming experience for women and girls as well. Not just women and girls, all participants, but making sure that our environments are a positive experience is going to help retain people. And you can imagine that all those three things really interplay with each other. To get more participants, we need quality coaches, we need lots of umpires, we need quality environments. To get more coaches, we need more teams to participate. So you can see how they all sort of interplay with each other.
Very good, very good. Appreciate that insight. It's a quickly evolving space, and as you said, Queensland footy is a quickly evolving sort of part of the country as well. So we've talked a lot over the last couple of series about what the new rule changes look like, and as you touched on, the next stages of the research is going to be pretty critical for that. We've rolled out coaching courses, we've rolled out communication direct to our participants and our parents as well, and obviously as part of this series we've tried to take everyone in our footy community behind the scenes a little bit more in terms of the why we do things here at AFL Queensland. But I guess from our perspective, we want to make sure that any changes we're making towards the 2025 season as well are communicated by mid-year. So our junior footy team, they'll meet with all clubs prior to June 30 to ensure that any further developments or changes in this space are communicated with plenty of time ahead of next year as well. So really appreciate you joining us today and the time to sort of take us through particularly the women's and girls space in footy. So really exciting times ahead. Just probably wanted to, take the opportunity to thank everyone that's joined along for the series over the last 5 episodes. It's been something new here at AFL Queensland, and really hope you've got something out of it. If it has helped you to understand, we'd love for you to share this within your club, within your parent networks, whatever that might be. As we've said, throughout the series, there's 5 episodes. Please feel free to head over to AFL Queensland's official YouTube page to view any and all of them. There's a lot more research as well behind some of the topics we've touched on over the course of the 5 episodes on the AFL Queensland website as well. As we said, consultation and feedback is critical and really important to the process. So if you do have any bits of feedback, whether you be a parent, a coach, administrator, whatever that might be at your club, please send through an email to the address that's up on the screen at the moment. We certainly value your feedback, whatever that might be. Thanks again, as always. Whether you're new to our game or existing, please head to play.afl and find your way to play today.